Hey everyone, how's it going? Saul here, and welcome to a bit of a crafting demonstration slash discussion type of video. I guess it's less demonstration, more so me talking about the things I've done and the things I plan to do, primarily with my explosion chest here. So I played my Toxic Rain Deadeye for a really long time, and I was pretty keen on attempting to craft an explosion chest of some kind for use with this build in particular, but pretty much any build that I could feel like playing at the time that would synergize well with it. And Blade Blast Chieftain is one of the best ones for a lot of reasons, but it's just a very solid build, gets built-in conversion, being fire damage, specifically Fizz converted to fire-based, is very good for the explosion chest. So I wanted to focus on that, and I've never gotten to actually play around with one. So I wanted to play a build that capitalized on its strength well enough to enjoy it, I guess, to the fullest. So, with that said, I pretty much dumped all of my harvest random armor influence crafts into body armors that I got from, if I can see here, yep, Destiny Crumble. Gets you an item level 100 body armor. This is important because to get an explosion chest, to get the enemies you kill explode mod, you need to have at least an item level 85 body armor. And that is decently rare to get on your own. So much so, in fact, that most of the ones I have laying around here that are of a decent item level, at least high enough to get the craft, are from other means than getting them as drops. Even owning like Awaken level 8 with the increased chance for influence items to drop, they just don't drop that frequently, it seems. So I am glad we have Harvest around. Went ahead and threw all of my targeted add an influence to body armor crafts onto pretty much anything. Didn't really care about the base for the longest time, which is why I ended up with one of these. And this is actually a solid example that I'll get into in a second. This is the one I originally planned on starting with and crafting further until I got the mod, but I ended up with a high item level Redeemer Astral Plate and another high item level Crusader random base. I don't remember what it was. Some less optimal base, of course, because Astral is kind of the king here. And so I also had a couple of Awakener's Orbs from killing the Awakener. And a property of Awakener's Orbs is that you can not only add the influence from one base to another while destroying the first one in the process, you can carry over an individual mod. So I had two options here. One was to just worry about copying the influence over to the Astral Plate and then hoping to roll the enemies you kill explode mod at a later time, basically through sheer luck. But that's not exactly ideal because of how harvest crafting works. If you pollute the influence base with something more than Crusader, it's a lot harder to guarantee that you get the explosion mod. And I'll get more into that in a second, like I said. But I pretty much went the luck route and took a huge gamble that happened to pay off. So I got a blue Crusader chest that was item level 85 or 86, filled the suffix, and used a harvest, I don't have the example here, but there's a harvest mod or a crafting option to add a random influence modifier. So basically slam an influence mod onto it. And I did that with suffixes blocked, or a suffix filled on a magic item, so only prefixes were available, and managed to get extremely lucky, I would imagine, since the weighting is really low, and got the mod. Then I rolled my Redeemer Astral Plate, which is actually this one here. I accidentally rolled past Frenzy, the 10% chance to get a Frenzy charge on hit, and I got impatient and settled for this mod, +1 to level of socketed support gems, which is less good for multiple reasons. One, I think it's just less damage overall. I plan on using it in power if I can manage to squeeze it in. This build is notorious for having mana problems, so we'll see. It's not a total damage loss, even if I don't use my Empower that I have, but yeah. Much would have preferred to get that mod, and I think it's a more common mod, and it's harder to, it's not really going to be possible for me to target craft that with any means that I know of, at least. Another reason is it is a prefix, which has its pros and cons, but it means that I can't craft percent chance to avoid ailments and life on this armor ever, because that would be 4 prefixes, and I can only have 3. So I'll have to find some other way to get 100% ailment avoidance, as is pretty typical for this type of build. But yeah, I guess that's my fault. I can manage to get it on boots, and then I can craft it on helmet and gloves. That should be fine. Not an extreme worry, but would have been a nice option to have open. That being said, the fact that these 2 are prefixes worked out greatly to my benefit, because when I used my Awakener's Orb, I pulled over the Explosion mod and the Socketed Support Gems mod as 2 prefixes. And I was lucky enough to get 2 suffixes paired with those when it rerolled the item, because an Awakener's Orb will carry over 1 mod, keep the 2 influence mods that you have, or 1 influence mod of each influence, and otherwise randomize the item. So I could have had a 5 or a 6 property rare. I could have had a 3 prefix, 1 suffix rare, things like that. But because I had 2 prefixes, 2 suffixes, I was able to craft prefixes cannot be changed, scour it, and that's what I'm left with here. From there I did the pretty typical thing of getting sockets and linking it. I got really lucky on linking it, like 200 fusings in, and I knew my Vrichu was in research for the Syndicate, so that's where the 3 white sockets came from. And beyond that, I pretty much plan to, for now at least, just multi-mod it. Can have 3 crafted modifiers, craft life and either dexterity because this build is starved for it, or a hybrid elemental chaos res, because I also need to work on getting, I believe, 80% chaos res, maybe 83, something like that, depending on how I go about building this character. So that's pretty much my plan, and from there, the slow transition to the ending form of this chest is to do multi-crafted mod with the mods I just mentioned, then eventually remove add life until you get a tier 1 or sufficient life roll. That'll clear up one of your crafted mods as well. And then probably like a remove add chaos until you can get a higher chaos roll, because if you take a look at my stats here, not going to be a problem capping elemental res, considering my gear is absolute garbage right now, and I'm way beyond fire res cap because I'm a chieftain, and other res is not far from being capped either. I'm 2% away from capped right now without any notable resistance gear, so yeah, probably remove add chaos after remove add life. Then I can probably craft like a hybrid chaos res to once again top off chaos, and I believe I'll be able to do harvest, add crit for power charge and crit. Won't be the most useful for this build, but it'll make this more of a general use chest that'll still be good for pretty much everything. As well as that, if I get lucky enough to see socket color changing to white, then I'll be throwing that on this as well, because again, I want to make this more of a generalist thing, and having all white sockets on a base that has such high requirements in one stat would be fantastic. That being said, if you don't want to get lucky, I know it's kind of late in the video to be covering this, but if you want to craft an explosion chest of your own, you could start with a base like this one, single influence crusader, once again, item level 85 or higher. And what you can do is there are exactly three physical mods in the prefix pool for a crusader chest, item level 85 or higher. And those are physical damage reflection, so reflects physical damage to melee attackers. Physical damage from hits taken as lightning, so the two I have here. And enemies you kill explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. Those three are the only three physical damage prefixes for Crusader influence explosion chest, which is why I mentioned earlier, if I had a Redeemer influence on this as well, you would not be able to guarantee it through harvest, because there would be 4 prefixes with the physical tag. But because there are only 3, I have 2 prefixes here and 2 suffixes, craft on a third. If I find a harvest craft for exalting a physical mod, it will guaranteed be the explosion mod, which is extremely powerful. And from there you can remove add lightning until the physical damage taken as lightning becomes lightning res, and then you can craft in life. So, and from there you can do all sorts of other things as well. Most importantly, the finished product that you can get through this method, if you work at it long enough or get lucky, I guess, is tier 1 life, 3 tier 1 resistances, reflect, and the explosion mod. There's no way to remove the reflect mod without risking removing the explosion mod. So I guess if you're going to do that and you're going to go for like a 6 tier 1 type of thing, then do that step earlier, I guess, if you're going to try to remove fizz. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of that. And that was a very long-winded rant about what I plan to do with this chest. I hope you guys enjoyed to some extent at least, or learned a little bit. My last video was pretty well received, and it was mostly just me talking about the crafting process. So yeah, I appreciate any feedback. If you want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know, and subscribe if you want to get them directly. I'll definitely be coming out with more gameplay and crafting related videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around. Peace.